Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share an update on my experience with the Lenovo YOGA C940. For those of you who've been following my coverage, you already know I think this is one of the best Ultrabooks on the market, and today's video is about quality control because my experience with this machine has been very good from a QC standpoint. Solid build, no creaks, no flex. I love that the pen has a garage to be stored in on the back right here. Not something new from Lenovo, but still something that I wish more manufacturers did. So basically what I wanted to address were two issues. One, an issue that I did have, or I do have, with the HP Spectre. I did exchange it, but the touchpad, the trackpad, I had a loose trackpad that essentially would move, jiggle, anytime that I would be using it. And I've seen some of you comment that you have the exact same thing with the Yoga, and this is not surprising. It happens with every manufacturer, of course, more so with some, less with others, and I can assure you with my Yoga C940, I have none of those problems. It is solid top to bottom, including the touchpad, no issues whatsoever. This is easily one of the best touchpads right now on the market. That doesn't mean that you couldn't or may not get a defective touchpad and go through the issue that I just went through with the Spectre X360 13T, which of course is also an Ice Lake refresh, very impressive machine. The other one is all about fan noise. Now, I have not had any clear problems with fan noise, but a lot of you have been commenting, questioning whether or not, or just lamenting the fact that the C940 is constantly running its fans. Now, right now it's quiet, but during the setup for this video, and I do have the machine in performance mode, you can see I just cycled, that's why we hit silent, the silence mode first. The fans were spinning up and nothing was going on. So while this does happen occasionally, I cannot fault Lenovo here because that happens with virtually every laptop on the market. At any given point, you may see the fans and hear the fans, more importantly, spin up when nothing is going on. I've seen this happen with the Spectre as well. So it's not unique to Lenovo. And I've seen a lot of you talking about that the C940's fans are kicking on when nothing is going on. I think that likely has something to do with performance mode. If you find yourself living in performance mode, I would go ahead and switch over to the quiet mode. You likely will not see the fans spin up the way you have been in performance mode. But I could see how that would become annoying. I don't have coil whine with this machine, nor do I have any coil whine with the Spectre. So that's not a unique feature to the Lenovo or the HP. Of course, I've been in coil whine hell. Dell is my name. We'll just leave it at that. And I'm not saying that the Yoga may not have it. You may very well have coil whine, but I have not experienced any. So from a build quality standpoint, I would in no way, shape, or form say that the Yoga is problem-free. My copy of it, though, my build of this machine has been virtually problem-free. I really have not noticed any issues of the display, even though it's not in the same league as the Spectre X360's OLED. It's still the best, as I said, IPS display on the market right now on an Ultrabook. If you're looking for a 4K display, I have not seen one that is better than the Yoga C940. So this display has a lot going for it. It isn't an OLED, and as long as you understand that, you're not going to be disappointed by it. Of course, if you're looking for more battery life, you should move away from 4K altogether. That's how you're going to get into battery life nirvana. It isn't going to happen with 4K resolution here in 2019 or in 2020. I mean, I don't know what breakthroughs we might see at CES, which is not that far away. It's just a few months from now, and I may or may not be there. But I would venture a bet here that we aren't going to see a vast improvement in battery life until we get the next gen of processors from Intel, and in turn, manufacturers will likely want to reconsider the actual battery profiles. I mean, we already have quick charge basically throughout all these Ultrabooks, which is a fantastic thing. In roughly 2 hours, not just here, but with all of Microsoft's new offerings, you're fully charged up, and it's a great thing. But battery life is always going to be somewhere between 5 and 7, maybe 8 hours on these machines, specifically the Yoga. Again, I'm trying not to compare this to anything that's in the stable right now that I have been comparing. This is all just about the QC, and I have to say that's where Lenovo, at least on my laptop that we're looking at here, has done a great job. And that's still one of the reasons that I'm slowly inching closer to selecting the Yoga as my machine, because I love the display on the Spectre from HP. I love that it's got a micro SD card slot. I wish this machine had it, but you know, the build quality issues, and this is after exchanging the Spectre, and I do not need to exchange the Lenovo. And Best Buy did lower their price on the Lenovo to $1449 while I was covering it. Unfortunately, it's now back up to over $1,700, but I'm sure it'll go on sale again. There's no question about that. The fact that it already went on sale in its first month of life means we will see this machine go on sale again. So that bodes well for those of you that are holding out and are still on the fence. And look, I'm still struggling with this because what I thought was going to be a clear and easy decision at the beginning of my coverage of this machine, as well as the HP Spectre X360, forget Microsoft's offerings, is no longer simple, because all of HP's quality control issues, in spite of my personal preference for all of the hardware that it brings to the table, the Yoga, which I do think is a more attractive machine in terms of aesthetic, I like their build quality better. So it's got a lot going for it. I think the pen experience, the inking experience on the Lenovo is better with the Wacom Digitizer compared to the N-Trig employed on HP. But every time that I still put this machine next to the Spectre, that OLED display still, makes me want to go and use the HP in a way I'm not as inspired by the Yoga. Now, I want to reiterate, if you have the Yoga at home and you don't have a laptop like the Spectre next to it with an OLED display, you are going to be very, very happy with this machine. And if this was the only machine I bought, you can be sure that my review would have reflected that I would have no regrets about it. The only reason that I can even feel the way that I do right now about the Yoga is because I have been simultaneously reviewing the Spectre, which was originally my first choice, but has slid to neck and neck with the Yoga because of its quality control problems. So for those of you that missed my update about the Yoga, about the HP, I did exchange it. The popping of the chassis is still there. In fact, it's worse on my new unit, and there are some scratches and scuffs on the rose gold trim. But the little bit of scuffs, the one clear paint chip on the rose gold trim, is less concerning to me than the popping of the chassis by the fingerprint scanner. But what is nice is that the touchpad, the trackpad, no longer is shaking on the new HP. So the Spectre has improved in build qualities to some degree, which now makes the Yoga decision versus the Spectre even more complex for me, because had I just gotten another complete lemon, as much as I love the features, form factor, and screen specifically of the Spectre, the Yoga would be where I would land. And please, nobody ask me why the stickers are on here. I've already stated, once I make my decision, if this is the machine I'm keeping, the stickers will be gone. But the Yoga really is nearly a perfect machine. If it had an OLED display, I'd look past the fact that it has half a terabyte less of storage for the same money, and I'd also look past the fact that we have no card reader on board, because this thing does run pretty cool, relatively quietly, at least in my system. Of course, once I put it under load, those fans kick up. But otherwise, the Yoga is, outside of it being a little bit larger than I had ever thought I would go in a new Ultrabook, because I'd want to try to keep it as light and small as possible. And by the way, this isn't a heavy machine, but the physical form factor, because of that 13.9-inch 4K IPS display, inherently makes it a larger footprint, which for many of you I think is irrelevant. For me, it's starting to become irrelevant as I lament the HP QC failings. So again, the Lenovo I highly recommend. I can't give that same recommendation on the HP because of the QC issues. It's a near perfect machine. This is about as perfect as it gets right now in 2019. Build quality, what's under the hood. I'm not talking about support from Lenovo, and the screen quality. Again, I wish this was an OLED, but even given that it's not, it's still a fantastic display. And the build quality is great. A little repetitive, but I want to reiterate, this has been the quality control winner so far. And as I mentioned, it's the inking winner between the two. It's not a huge margin, but it's enough that my fiance, who is an artist by profession, prefers this. And I know why. It's because when inking with this pen, you can not only experience less of a jitter experience here, but also fine inking is picked up in a way that is just not as precise on the HP. And I'm not sure if that's to do with the fact that the HP is working with a digitizer over an OLED, or it's just an inferior digitizer altogether. Again, the HP is not bad. The Lenovo is just better. That rounds out today's update. Again, if you have any questions or comments, post them, throw them in the comments. Please let me know what your experience is with the C940. I'm very curious if all of you are basically experiencing the same thing I am, which is that the QC is great on this machine. Again, I've seen the complaints. I want to know which we're experiencing more. And as usual, hit that like button and please feel free to subscribe. Later.